From Significant, this is Crack It in an Hour.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crack It in an Hour, the show where we have one problem to crack, 1 hour to crack it once a week. I'm Simon.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Roman.
And I'm Biz.
Biz, welcome back, and big news.
I'm back. I got kicked out, but now
you've gotten that.
Actually hosting.
You said some things last time. I was like, oh, I'm not happy about this.
Yeah, we had to have a big talk.
Yeah.
No.
But this time around, you got the actual topic, which is a first.
I know. I have the topic.
Okay, so should we start the clock?
Please.
Start the clock.
Clickety clock.
All right,
Okay.
let's go.
Started.
It's in this
I love this.
that I will
wow.
slowly,
For people listening, it appears to
dramatic
be
purposes.
origami-inspired pieces of folded paper.
Man, I wish it was inside a fortune cookie.
It was in the shape of Simon, actually. I
Oh my
spent
gosh.
all night doing
just got
that.
crunched in, in your pocket or something.
Yeah. Okay. Are we ready?
Yes.
We're
Let's go.
so ready.
Hopefully you guys haven't talked about this. I don't think so. Okay. I guess first, I'm curious if you guys remember the first time you ever posted on social media
Ooh.
I don't,
at all.
honestly. I remember like some early posts on social media, but I don't remember my very first.
Do you guys remember?
I'm really hoping that you didn't go into the internet and pull our very first
Roman's
social
looking
media
at me.
post.
No. For me,
I remember when I made my Facebook. Like I can
Okay.
remember, but I don't remember what I posted.
same. I remember why I was excited about Facebook, which was the pictures.
Was
'Cause I
Facebook your
an
first?
expat. Yeah.
You weren't on MySpace?
No.
No, MySpace?
Oh,
maybe
I
I
did
was
have
on
MySpace. I did have
MySpace.
I was on
MySpace.
Yeah.
Maybe there was there a Friendster or something?
There was.
Yeah,
but-
maybe it was it. Maybe that was
Yeah.
it, I think. So anyway, short answer is no, I do not remember.
Okay. Interesting. So it's not that interesting. Today, we're basically going to talk about the fact that people don't post on social media anymore
Oh,
at all.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and we're not talking about influencers. We're not talking about brands. We're not talking about creators. We're not talking about AI slop. We're talking about people, just regular people posting to their friends and communities things that they're doing, how they feel, what they think, what they're up to. Because basically, spoiler alert, it's disappearing. It's gone. Some good stats for proof that this isn't totally off the noggin. Nearly a third of all social media users post less than they did a year ago. The time spent viewing content posted by friends has declined over the past 2 years significantly, both on Facebook, but also Instagram. Zuckerberg himself, the social media king, said that Meta is no longer a social media company. When he was asked about the company's current focus, he basically just talked about it's all about entertainment and learning, right? There was some great articles about how social media may have been isolating, but what's even more isolating is capitalism, which is sort of the new focus of all these platforms, right? It's about consumption of, again, brands, entertainment, AI slop. The fact that 65% of people are basically using social media to consume entertainment opposed to streaming devices, as is another thing, right? We're not even really watching shows as much as we used to because we're just on TikTok. And that's the other thing too, right? Is like, yeah, the consumption of social media has gone up over the years, but it's not like it's been this like huge decline, right? Or increase. It's been slowly going up. But I think the biggest variable is the fact that TikTok is now, like, over the last couple of years, the huge consumption point. That's what people are consuming. And you think about TikTok, that's just content creators. So, okay, I have more that we can talk about, but basically the topic is, how do we make social media social again? Or more specifically, how do we get people posting on social media again?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
There are two very different questions to me.
Great. Let's get into it.
Because making social media social again, my brain immediately goes to, it's not up to us. Like, there's nothing we can do about it. Like, it's really, you need Zuck and his friends to make it social again.
Mm-hmm.
Getting people to post, why not? You see what I mean? Like, you can, you can tap into behavior, you can tap into like whatever the benefits you're going to get out of it, but the rest is just up to like whoever dictates the algorithm.
I would say the way I think about it is if you get that making social media social again would be an outcome of getting people posting again. I recognize that like it's because of the algorithm and the way that they're reorganizing the feeds and defining those companies. It's not going to be maybe the same level of social it was when it all started. I mean, the fact that like they started as a platform for connection and friendship, and now they consider themselves entertainment and learning is
Well,
the result of what you're saying. But I do think that if you focus on getting more non-content creators to share, let's say, bits of their life, it would inherently start making it social again would feel like an outcome of that.
I mean, we can debate that forever. I personally don't think so because we're seeing it every day. If you post things and the algorithm doesn't pick you, even your friends don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not social. It's not even if you stop posting, even your friends don't see it because the algorithm is going to push other things like centers of interest and everything. So to me, they're different questions, but. Anyway.
But if do you think if there was if we believe there's a market for social media being social, right? Let's just build the product. Let's just figure out what that
Classic
product
Simon.
is.
Yeah. So
You know what I
then
mean?
it's to say, let's get people to post.
Because part of it too, and I don't know if you have any statistics about it, is like, do you have any stats around how much of modern social media content now is bots? Like whether it's commenting and things like that.
No, I don't have it, but when I was looking, like, yeah, it's a huge part of it
Yeah.
as well. Yeah,
Like, I
mean,
read-
basically, it was folded into like the AI slop of it all.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I read something, I forget where it was, but it was a real article. I'm not just making this up. That like that Cracker Barrel
I was
outrage
going to bring this up.
was essentially all bots.
Yes.
Like there was not that many people outraged about it, but the critical mass of talk about it on the website, on the internet, caused articles to be written about it, caused all of it to become a part of pop culture in a way that like it was all just dead internet saying that stuff.
Cracker Barrel bots.
Angry Cracker Barrel bots.
That's hard to say.
It is.
I think a
Tongue
bot wrote
twister.
the article you read.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. A bot reacting to bot culture.
Yeah,
exactly.
Bot loop.
Because I like this topic. It's really interesting. It's also very of your generation and not mine, because I would have never thought of this, which I really like too.
Well,
Like you look at it as the good old days, and I'm like, no.
yeah, I was so curious that you guys don't remember your first like social post because I do.
Really?
Yeah,
Go
I
on.
guess it's maybe just some of like the gap in
Which
our
platform?
MySpace.
Yeah.
But like,
I was-
you remember what you actually posted?
Yeah, I was awarded like MySpace the summer after 5th grade, which was like a huge deal. And I posted a selfie in a beanie with my arm up like this. And I
great.
remember taking it on my digital camera and posting it.
And then like having to connect a wire to upload it to your computer. Like it was a thing.
That's
and like friends
incredible.
commenting on it and that being like a new
Yeah.
way of interacting. But I think the main reason why I wanted to bring it up is even though it is like of my generation, I'm also like the most social media adverse person. Like I
Right.
constantly
Yeah,
delete
totally.
it all the time, right? I have no platforms right now that's all deleted. So I think the easy route to go is like we just need to get rid of phones. We need to get rid of social media consumption, but that's not going to be the case
Mhm.
for everybody, right? As far as like serving a
Make it good again.
communal or like
Yeah.
conversational need, right?
I agree.
So it was sort of this tension of like, we're spending more time on these platforms. That's not going to go away. There's just going to be new inventions of how we spend time on our screens. How do we make it more personal and
More
communal
human.
again,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, yeah. Making
Yeah.
social good again.
Yeah. I mean,
To your point.
go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm curious to start talking about why people don't post anymore. Like why people stopped sharing. I mean, that was it, right? It was like little windows into people's lives, like the dumb, boring stuff. And what's interesting is I feel like for people who do post, I mean, there's kind of been a lot of cycles of this, right? But in the beginning, it was so like everyday nothingness, but that's kind of what made it interesting. Then it only became about posting the special, cool.
He said
like,
yes.
Yeah, the achievements, the
Yeah.
moments,
Look at
the
our
milestones.
baby.
He said yes.
Guys,
Yeah.
women are allowed to propose to men, okay?
No, that's amazing.
I'm a
love
very
it.
non-traditional
That's-
guy.
And you know what's
And
crazy?
men
Women can propose to women. Too.
I
Yeah.
know. I have zero problems with that.
Wow.
I know.
So-
Mind blown.
But then I think when that happened, when people started only posting like the cool vacations and the the milestone moments, is when the Be Real app sort of popped up and became the like, here, just post the boring basic moments. And I don't feel like that
Did it ever take off?
in my world, in pockets, but
Yeah.
I never saw it go like so
I really don't know.
consistent. Not consistently.
Was that the one that was like, at this time, you're just going to be asked to take a
right
photo?
now you got to post
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
sides of your phone,
Yeah.
no cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, because we saw it in the office at some point
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, whenever it was, like everybody was using it. Everybody who was like 10 years younger than we are was
Mhm.
using it.
Yeah.
And then disappeared. And then a month ago again, I saw some people use it. So I actually don't know where they are.
I saw a couple months ago.
I
Yeah.
actually don't know what's going on with that.
And-
Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting to talk about because it was supposed to be the real social.
Yes,
Right.
it
Yeah.
kind of was the moment that we're
Anti-
talking about.
Anti
Yeah.
the fakeness of the fake lives and the fake optimism and
Yeah.
the fake everything's good.
I'm not
kind of
on
thing.
it, so I don't know. But is Snap closer to that?
Well, that's what I was going to say is in some ways, but not exactly. But Snap is having like a little bit of a renaissance right
Yeah.
now. Like people
Yeah.
are returning to it. It's really big among teenagers just because I think like the parental controls, but you guys tell me. And it is a little bit like you can't be as performative on Snapchat, right? Like it's a little bit more just like posting like little snips and clips of your
Yeah.
life. And it's a little less like infiltrated by sort of brands and polish in the same way that
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Instagram and TikTok are.
Yeah.
I think like most things, we're generally only aware of the things that impact our generation.
Yep.
And Snap, I don't know, I don't have the data. I don't think it's ever gone away. I think it's always been very good with a specific age group that you're talking about, the
Yeah.
teens.
Yeah.
It's kind of a rite of passage. It's kind of like if you're not on Snap, it's not like you're not cool, it's that you can't even communicate when you're not in person because they don't use WhatsApp messages, any other form of communication. The direct messaging happens through Snap.
Through Snap. Yeah.
So and I don't know. I literally don't know how they got to that place, but they did a very good job at retaining that age bracket of like your first social media is going to be Snap. Whether, your parents allow you to have it at 10, 11, 13, or 16, it's generally Snap is going to be the
door
first
in,
one,
yeah.
I think, is the door in.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it. I do agree. I think there's something a touch more authentic, but it's still like pretty like social media. I'm going to post a cool picture, selfie with my friends when everything's going well. Kind of thing,
I mean, so this is sort of like an adjacent thing that I just want to throw us off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, this is great.
To that point on Snapchat, like I was just reading this pretty in-depth essay about how US culture is less weird than it used to be.
Totally agree.
And there's less room to be weird.
Totally agree.
And Snapchat, I think maybe what they do a little bit better is they promote a little bit more weirdness through like the filters and
Right.
things like that,
Yeah.
where it's like a little bit more
that's
like
smart.
unhinged, a little less, again, like polished.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of it too. There's sort of like these, even outside of social media, like different sort of signals that are happening in culture that are making us just like a little bit more precious, a little bit more anxious about how we're being displayed to people. And it's changing the way that we relate to people, even on social.
I think
Bubbles.
it's also why
Yeah.
basically the feed died in favor of stories in terms of people's personal accounts.
Mhm.
Like, obviously on Instagram, like Reels is more popular than, just it depends like if you're a brand or a person. But I feel like everybody 4 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe just stopped posting to their feed and only
Yeah.
started posting in their stories because
True.
of what you're talking about, the fear of like permanence of how you're perceived. And like,
Mhm.
I feel like especially right now in culture, things happen so fast where all of a sudden you post something to the feed and then like, I don't know, 6 months later, it's like, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
So I think people are afraid of that. To your point, I mean, that's a little different from the weird thing, but I think it's all wrapped up in the same sort of idea of like the fear of how you're permanently being perceived by others.
Totally.
Can you unpack for me a little bit the culture is less weird than it used to be? Because
Mhm.
not growing up here, you said American culture, I think US culture. Not growing up here, I wasn't familiar with like what US culture is. And the internet is what kind of like gave me a door to that. And the
Mhm.
internet was fucking weird,
Mhm.
which I love.
Mhm.
And so you like tell me why it's like, how do you perceive it to be less weird than it used to be?
I mean, I chime in, guys, but like there's a lot of
Yeah.
different signals. But this was even just talking about like the internet too, and sort of the spectrum of like you even look at web design and how similar all of that has become.
Yeah.
Where like there's just there's these whole like archives on the internet of like old internet because it was so Wild West.
Yeah.
From web design to the content to even just the names of URLs, everything has become so uniform and similar.
We talked about algorithmic optimization at one point, and just like how it literally has an impact on coffee shops now.
Yeah.
Like every coffee shop basically looks the same because it's how people want to go to a coffee shop that looks a certain way.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think
I wasn't
we're
here, but I listened to that episode.
that was,
And
that
then
was a wild
I think
episode.
another one
That was a
too
weird
is,
one.
and this is like a weirder one, and this isn't a bad one, which is like, I think we've become a more accepting culture of what's it called? Of, I'm going to call them like different subcultures. You know what I mean? Like gaming, comics, all the things, cosplay used to be a lot more fringe.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And it's just become a lot more like, my daughter in a weekend will do 3 things that are like, that would have been like crazy when I was growing up, that are now like completely normal
Yeah.
kind of behaviors. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. So what is fringe
To me,
to today? Yeah, I don't know. To like, to
I mean,
your
there's
point,
some weird
growing
shit
up-
I mean,
out there.
this is also because this is also
growing up-
partially.
no, but without getting into like the even like the sexual things or whatever.
No,
You see
no,
what
I mean,
Like,
there's
it's
some weird stuff out
Because I
there,
know,
though.
but growing up, like cosplay was super fringe.
Right.
Like super. That's a great example.
Yeah.
Like you like
He's like,
school,
that's
at school.
That's crazy. You're
Wait,
dressing up like an
absolutely
anime
not.
character,
Like
just
gamers were geeks,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Like 25 years
100%.
ago.
Yeah,
Now gaming is like pop culture.
dude.
It's
Like, as someone
like-
who has played Magic the Gathering for 25 years,
Yeah.
seeing like cool people now admitting that, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. You have Dungeons and Dragons clubs
Yeah,
everywhere.
exactly.
Like, it's true. Like
yeah.
it's
Well, but I think you guys are bringing up like culture always grows and evolves,
Totally.
right? Like
Yeah,
100%.
30 years ago,
By definition.
being a skater was even just
crazy.
sort of like
Yeah.
you're on the fringes,
Yeah.
and now
Totally.
it's
Yeah.
like
So that's why my
it's a
question is,
career.
what is fringe today?
But I think part of it is like the performance of it too is different, you know, where it's like there's a little bit more of a like a veneer or a polish
I
that you
agree.
need to have on how you're performing that subculture, what it means to you. I think people are more precious about the things that are actually honest to the things they're interested in versus the performance of what they might be interested in.
Yes, this is
Yeah.
so this is what I was thinking about when you were talking about like original internet,
Mhm.
you know, like I miss it a lot. But like you know, like I'll just bring back like E-Bombs World, you know? Like I
Yeah.
want some weird internet stuff. But I was thinking about, and this is again, everything is cyclical, but in that time, I feel like lo-fi content was so acceptable and there wasn't a performance on the
Yeah.
content itself. And think about Vine before TikTok, right? Vine
Yeah.
was also the weird version of TikTok. And like we could say whether it was because brands then really, we just entered, like TikTok entered the world at a time when brands co-opted social entirely, and Vine was like a little before that.
Yeah.
But it was lo-fi, it was weird, it was all about just like fast, nonsensical stuff. But I feel like everything on TikTok, for example, is performance.
Totally.
And when you have performance, there's a sense of elevation on the content itself that like it has to appear, even when you're trying to make it appear imperfect, it's like the thing you're trying to do instead of actually authentically do that. So I feel like this lack of lo-fi or imperfect content maybe is contributing to that a little bit.
Do you think people have become less authentic?
Totally.
Because like that, I think that's part of it too, is like personal brands and doing stuff to intentionally try to get likes and things like that are such like if you took a time machine back to 20 years, it's just a completely foreign, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Type concept. Whereas like, that's the reality my daughter's growing up in. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, so it is like what you're touching on. Cause when you're like, why don't people post more, is also like, there's also almost like a deeper conversation, which is like, why aren't people living more authentically in a weird way too? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know that's weird to say, but it is just something I think about a lot.
Yeah, but I think that's what we're talking about, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
Get people.
Like,
do you
yeah.
guys
Get- no,
post?
we
Do
get-
you? I mean, I know you don't use social
No.
media at all, really, Simon. But do you post
Sometimes.
stories, feed?
Feed happens twice a year. Stories a little more, and then now reels. And
Yeah.
reels, basically, I look at the numbers. 5% of the views are from my following,
Yeah.
Wow.
despite the total number of views being just
Mhm.
double the amount of my following.
That's crazy, eh?
5% of my following,
So they're
So-
treating you as a content creator rather than someone who's interested in connecting with friends.
Mhm. which we kind of are, because like we're
I mean-
posting this, and this is
I don't know
like-
what you're talking about. This episode is brought to you by.
Yeah,
Like
sure
and
mics.
follow.
Yeah.
So, but that's the way it works.
Totally.
It's like, so that's also where why I like my first thought was like the algorithm will let you,
Yeah.
because that's the way it's done. But if you had to create a social media today that's meant to be authentic, frankly, Be Real was a good place to start. It's like,
Why did it fail?
can't cheat. I don't know if it
I
failed.
don't know that it
We don't
fa-
know that
I
it failed.
truly
don't
we have
know.
No, I have zero data.
Yeah.
Because it's not of my generation. And so I really don't know. I know I see it less, but
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe
I'll
it
give
was
you
a little-
I'll give you a complete
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's failing or not, but I do, obviously it's not as popular
Yeah. Yeah.
as
Of course. I mean, it's not part of the mainstream
Yeah.
social media conversation.
Yeah, I think I mean, this is such a boring comment at this point, but like our brains are so wired for dopamine now
Yeah.
to the point where like it's boring content.
Yeah.
And like that's what the whole ambition of it was. And that's, you just
Totally.
like see a still image of someone at a coffee shop and then the reverse of the camera and it's like the street in front of them. But like our brains now are so like they're literally evolved in bad ways
Totally.
for the dopamine hit that you get from the constant scrolling.
Yeah.
And like also the more, I mean, you were talking about this the other day, even with movies having like back in the day, movies being slower.
oh yeah, we
and-
were talking about
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I feel like that's an interesting example in like
Yeah,
the broader
yeah.
cultural context. I don't know if you want to talk about it a little
Yeah,
bit.
no, we started this like little family gathering every week. We watch a movie
Yeah.
in the winter. It's dark outside earlier, Sunday, 5:30, 6 p.m. Let's watch a movie. We started that recently. And then obviously, you can't please everyone. My kids go from 7 to 14 years old, and then you have 2 adults. So someone's going to be mad,
Mhm.
right? And so we started with like, what's the name in English?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
That movie. And I was like, okay, the 7-year-old can probably find something. The 14-year-old might think it's interesting to see
Mhm.
that,
Yeah.
the duality of like, and then, my wife and I were like, okay, let's see, because it's a pretty old movie. Failed, total fail. Like,
I remember as a kid being
for-
like, this is pretty dense.
42 minutes in, everybody's like, okay, can I do something else? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, before we did that, we watched a movie together, and I was like, they're gonna love it. The the older ones are gonna love it, and it was The Fifth Element, right? Which to me was
Crazy.
was like Biz doesn't even know what we're
Beautiful.
talking about,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. What? Hello?
eccentric,
Yeah.
funny,
Mila Jovovich.
and yes,
Yeah.
and
Space.
action
Willis.
pack.
Bruce Willis.
And
Space.
Bruce Willis,
Yeah.
exactly. Science
Yeah.
fiction,
Yeah,
comedy, a mix
Yeah.
of everything. But we noticed it rewatching it. What we've completely forgot is that like it takes 55 minutes to set up the thing, and no movie does that anymore.
Yeah.
Our kids grow up on like watching. Even
Yeah.
my kids watch movies on Netflix, but on Netflix movies,
Yeah.
Action, action,
8 minutes
action.
in, you know exactly who's who, you know what's what, and let's fucking
Something's
go.
already
Yeah,
blown
totally.
up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like-
Like a relationship's blown up, or
Yeah.
there's an actual explosion.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they're like, this is boring.
I've
And
talked to you all. I talked to you guys all about the Mr. Beast memo, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to you all about that.
Say again.
too. So Mr. Beast, like he has this memo that he sends out. It leaked. It's nothing like terrifying, but it just lays bare what he does, which is like, your goal is to keep people interested in this as quickly as possible, and here's how to do it. And it's what you're talking about. It's basically like dangling a carrot and then like a little dopamine hit, dangling a carrot, dopamine hit, until finally at the end
it's
there's
like
a payoff.
the version of put the logo in the first 3 seconds is like make something explode in the first in the first 3
and like
seconds.
you start with like, I just did this, and then now you got to watch to the end.
Then
and
you
got to
go
but
back.
you're going to give people just enough stuff all the way.
Back to be real. I mean, like
I think your assessment is
quite
is
literally,
totally.
like this has evolved in a not so
Have
good
you
way.
ever done a digital detox?
No, not really. I find, I mean, I use social media, I think, differently. I basically use social as a feed for my job.
Right.
You should see the way, I know Biz has seen
Yeah.
it, but you should see how my saved videos and posts are organized. It's all by categories I'm interested in. Fitness, aging, death, and I have all these, that's how I use my Instagram, other than, I mean, I look at my friends' stories that I follow, but I think doing what we do, and specifically being in the world of strategy, I feel a need to be so on top of culture that I cannot, I feel like if I detox, and every strategist has a different take on this, but then for me, I feel like if I detox, I've lost the signal, and me tracking the signal is how I do what I do. And
Biz,
so
have you ever done it?
I do it all the time.
all the time.
Yeah. But to Jesse's point, what happens is like I get rid of my personal account. I don't have one right now, Instagram, but I have like a burner account that I only, but it's crazy, but I only follow the things that Jesse's talking about. It's like, it's big content creators, it's musicians, it's brands, it's like editorial stuff too. But yeah.
Burner account's so good.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what it is.
now I see what role you're playing in The Wire.
Yeah. Well, okay. And that's an interesting thing too. I know we're just like musing about stuff, but like
That's good.
Finstagrams became a really big thing, like a fake Instagram account,
Yeah, and now
which
they're
was
gone.
now,
They're not as popular.
Yeah. And I don't know why that happened, because that was also a little bit of like, here's my one that's my performative one, and then here's my Finsta that's actually just for my close friends, and it's sort of the more real version of myself.
Yeah. I mean, I think you kind of started this at the beginning, but I think the social media apps, they do dictate how we post, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think to that point, like also close friends becoming more of a thing on stories. Like maybe it's that people are posting, but they're real life, but it is more like close friends. So you're not seeing as big of the reach unless you're like in those like 20, 30 people that are on close friends. But I also think about like what Instagram did almost in a bad way, which is it introduced the aesthetic to social media in a way that we hadn't quite had before.
Yeah.
There was like some playful stuff on MySpace.
Yeah, your stuff could look
But,
cool
like,
now.
The veneer of like starting to like add the filter, think about things. Everyone became a photographer. And that was sort of the introduction of the performance of it a little bit more. But are there ways that either existing apps right now or new apps could change the way that we interact with social to make it more social again? It's kind of a question that I have.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Jesse's point, like is stuck in my head about if you. I think we've always been wired for dopamine hits, but the type of like the hits we're getting come from a different place. And if you don't have that, can you be successful at having a digital experience? I don't know. Like, because I love your theory about Be Real maybe not being as successful because of like the content's not
It's just boring.
it's
boring.
just not-
What it's supposed to be
like-
just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also why,
Yeah.
to your intro point, social media has become, it's just, they're entertainment platforms now.
Yeah.
They're not social media. Right?
Well,
because you're getting much more.
Real life is entertaining.
Yeah.
Like we love to watch people's like true. It's why I brought up the weirdness point, right? Like we love when people are like truly raw in their presentation of things. We watch it in all different forms. We're just not watching it of each other with our closest friends online.
So
Do you know what I mean?
Perfect example. You and I have been talking about the new Lily Allen album, which is like, are you guys familiar with it?
No, I don't know she had a new album.
Okay. So it's basically like if reality TV, but like real reality TV played out in an album where she just like lays out her fucked up like marriage and how it all fell apart from beginning to end. But the lyrics are just like straight up explaining what happened. Like
Yeah.
there's no
follow
metaphor.
it start to end and know
You've literally, it's just like,
story of
and
the
then he did
divorce.
this and like these are the
Yeah.
actual lyrics. And then like I walked into his office and was like, what the fuck is up with this? And then I saw some like a bunch of like butt plugs under his bed and like it's crazy. It's like
Yeah.
absolutely insane, start to finish, just like laid bare. I thought of it because you're talking about real life is entertaining, and like this is unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, it's the thing people loved about social media in the first place is you got the like peek into people's lives. And I feel like seeing things like that happen is it's interesting to me because there was this period of like, we were talking about inauthenticity, like people not sharing that. Obviously, this is celebrity and not real person, but it made me also think about like on TikTok, how some of these like 45-part stories have gone crazy viral in the same thing. It's usually some sort of like almost real life reality TV-esque drama of like, I met this guy on Tinder and then let me tell you in 45 parts what happened. I forget where I was going with it, but it was just making me think about how like I don't know that I'm not saying that that's a good thing for people to start doing that. I think people deserve their privacy but there's almost this, I mean, we've been talking about it. There's almost this like catharsis happening of people beginning to reshare to the world and be like, I'm not hiding anything. I'm not going to put a shiny gloss over this. I'm just going to tell you exactly what's happening. And I wonder if that will create a sense of connection with people, even if it's even if it's a parasocial relationship. I don't know. I lost the plot on that, but something you said made me think about it.
I think what you're saying is if you're really, really authentic and you also show the dark side, then it becomes entertainment and therefore you're going to get the dopamine.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah,
yes.
I think that's the logic.
But you're
Dark
saying at least it's a starting
entertainment.
point because you're being authentic.
Yeah, if you show the dark side,
You show the
exactly.
dark
If you
side.
show the dark side, it almost, and again, I'm not saying like this is what I'd like to encourage everybody to do, but in a way, revealing the dark side of life is the most authentic thing you can do. And by doing that, it is kind of entertaining. And so we're talking a little bit about like how you expose the entertaining parts of life to bring back the social connection.
So let's pretend
evil strategy.
Yeah, I know this is very dark, but like, let me just take it a step further and go in execution. Let's take it all the way
there.
Take it all the way there. Let's pretend we're like, you know what, the way forward to get people to be more authentic and honest and post more is we need to create a safe space for darker conversations. What we're going to do is we're going to create a social media. We're going to create a social media platform that is the post secret for the modern social age.
Yes.
And you can come on, we'll call it Social Confessional. And you can come on and you can just share anything you want about anything you want. And you have the opportunity to either be anonymous or reveal who you are.
Yes.
And anyone can kind of go in there and start watching that. Now, again, you're kind of playing by...
I disagree. I disagree.
And it'll inherently become contentified.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
This
Like,
is an entertainment platform. This
Totally.
is not how you get people to share with their friends.
Well, that's
the goal was like sharing with the friends.
Okay,
Yeah.
but what if it was like, but
no. Technically, it was how to get people to post more.
what if it wasn't just an open platform like that? Like, what if it was share secrets with your friends kind of a situation? And like, it doesn't have to be as dark as what I just talked about with Lily Allen. But like, I even think about like, what was the, was it not Glassdoor? What was the platform where like, I guess
work
Glassdoor.
stuff.
Yeah.
Work
No,
stuff.
Fishbowl. Fishbowl was even worse. Fishbowl was the
Is that still around?
bottom of, I don't know. But not,
you know
okay,
what
it's
I
not.
think about anonymity anyway. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, you have to decide. We can argue the anonymous component or not. But what if it was the ability to share secrets with your friends, which feels kind of interesting to me?
Yeah. There's
Why wouldn't you use what's the difference between, in my head, just to clarify, what's the difference between that and say WhatsApp?
I mean, what's the difference between any messaging platform? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, I think if you build it for that function, it feels inherently like a safer place to do it, and like it's an intentional
Yeah.
place to do it. And I can't think through at the moment what all the UX components might be that might make it feel
I
interesting.
think that's a
but-
big point.
Because
That-
for example, like let me give you one example, which is it's going to be a platform of posting, not sending messages. So anyone inside your network can see anything you post.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that immediately moves it away from
or
WhatsApp.
maybe this is how you use WhatsApp.
But yes, that's where I was going. I think it's a big point. When social started, messaging wasn't as evolved.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was also a way to stay in touch with your
Yes.
friends. Like whether it's Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram, MySpace, stay in touch with your friends.
Mhm.
Now, like messaging is awesome.
Part and parcel. Yeah.
You have so many options. You can do it. You can do it one-on-one. You can do it in groups. You can pick your groups, how many people you want.
Yeah.
All of this to share intimate things or less intimate things,
Yeah.
logistical things, personal things, whatever. Therefore, what is the role of social as a connection platform? If we consider, what is the definition of social then? Because WhatsApp is also social media, right? It's like a way to stay in touch. So by
It
definition,
might be
it's
more social media than Facebook
So
now.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so what?
Yeah.
Go
It's
ahead,
probably happening.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you might bring that up. Yes, we have more tools to talk to each other, but also we're doing less of it too. There's tons and tons
We're
of
more
articles,
connected.
but we've never been less connected, more disconnected.
I'm out.
You guys know the insight. You've seen it in Dex. You're reading it
You've
here.
seen it
You know
on
what? We haven't
theaters.
actually
Well-
we haven't brought it up in a while actually.
Yeah,
so.
it's
I'm
back.
going to do a topic about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it as a whole part. How do we fix the loneliness
How do
epidemic?
we fix
Actually,
it?
Sorry, keep
no,
going.
okay,
Wait,
no,
wait.
save it. Save it.
Okay, we'll save
we
it.
cracked it yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, great. Then I'll bring it. You'll crack it. Crack it in 5.
But there's a thing, and I'm sure you guys have kind of heard of it circulating in culture, which is the idea of like I'm a bad texter, I'm a bad responder, and that's happening more and more. Where people, even in their messages, even just one-on-one, whether it's a group text or it's
true.
one-on-one, they're overwhelmed by the amount of communication, or they
Yeah.
feel like they don't have the perfect response, or they're not being funny enough, or they're not whatever it is. So it's I know it's
And-
cliche, but it's true. It's like we have all these tools, but they're not really operating in a way that is actually
service of
useful
us.
to the
Sure,
way
well,
that
sure,
wait,
but
and
these
I-
people
I-
never get them to
community.
post on a new social network anyway. I think this is the lost audience. Like if we
No,
want to
I don't
launch,
agree.
No,
I don't
not at
agree.
all,
I don't
not at
agree
all.
because I think that your brain naturally buckets. I mean, maybe some of them, but I don't. I stop shaking your head.
I don't.
I think
it's like if we're trying to start a business like Simon wants, you're gonna
no, they're not. They're not our. Yeah,
Gonna
yeah.
use it.
They're not our. They're not the first audience. They're the late adopters for sure. But I think that when you have a lot of platforms, your brain creates like buckets to organize them, and all of those messaging platforms became work platforms. Like I know. Go ahead.
WhatsApp.
I don't think that in the European circle, that's not true. Like what you're saying, it's much more social. But I think all these messaging platforms, Slack, to even text, like so many. I mean, I would argue probably half of people's texts are work texts rather than like relationship based texts. So I think that sometimes something new, even if the functionality is the same as like this
Right.
could happen
Yeah,
on
yeah,
WhatsApp,
yeah.
but just by default of introducing something
Yeah.
new sometimes gives
Totally.
you like the mental and physical space to use it differently. And
Yeah.
if in your mind,
And the name.
yeah, and all the
Yeah.
messaging apps feel like that's where like that's all the work is happening.
Yeah.
And on TikTok, it's where all the content creation's happening. Then I do think you could create space
There's
for
a
something.
world you could reskin Slack and make it something that has nothing to do with work. You know what I mean? Like,
Slack secrets.
you know, like I see what you're saying. The technology in and of itself doesn't inherently create the
yeah,
way it's used.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I also like it's the degrees of friends too, right? Like, of course,
Totally.
we all have people in our lives.
There's
that,
LinkedIn
like,
friends.
Yeah.
There's my text friends. There's
Well, this has always existed. I mean,
Yeah.
part of the reason why
I
I wanted
agree.
to bring this topic is every year my grandma sends out a newsletter to her, like, they're
That's
not
awesome.
her immediate
That's
friends,
awesome.
but they're like people that she deems close, that she wants everyone to know the updates, but she's not calling them as much, right? And that's like her version of social media in a way. And it's the most like unhinged stuff in this newsletter. You get a
How do I
physical
get on the
copy.
mailing list?
It's crazy. You're like, Grandma, you can't say this to Phyllis and Kentucky right now. Like, this is my life. Like, but it's that like sacred ring of people where they're not on your day-to-day basis, but they're also not strangers.
Yeah.
So you're giving them a little bit of, the inner workings, but it's just not as often. You know what I mean? But I think that's like some use of social media that's actually good for our sort of like human connection. It's the update of it.
You're touching on an interesting connection between how much you're willing to say if you're less accessible too.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you don't have to live with, like, I think part of the problem that we've been talking about is things got so performative because you kind of have to live with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For so long.
Yeah.
Whereas like, she's like, I don't care about so-and-so in Louisville. I'll just send her an update about everything that's happening.
A newsletter goes on the fridge.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe something's crazy in it and they talk about it over poker, but like it's not like widespread to the,
What if that's the idea?
What?
What if social media needs to be tactile? Like what if it's not digital? You know what I mean?
I wanted to close the whole episode saying this because I actually think we don't need anyone to post more, and I think we should get people off their fucking screens.
Oh, yeah,
but that's not. But
obviously.
it's not.
Biz said that at the beginning.
But it's not going to happen. It's
but
not
if
going
you
to happen.
created
it's beginning to happen.
I want to hear
Maybe
Simon's idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe you're creating it.
Yeah,
Well,
like
you're not saying
created
go back to the old days.
What if you
All
create
right.
a platform where it was literally like, give us your 300 friends, tell us all the things you want to say, and then we'll send out like consistent letters or newspapers or something. Like, I love that idea.
Okay, so this is kind of
I'd
interesting.
say
Pictures.
rendezvous points.
Wait, so this is kind of interesting, right? Because one of the tensions of people posting less is if they're just spending 6 hours a day on their phone on average, scrolling, watching things. You were kind of saying it too, but like they're not living life.
No.
So
Yeah.
they have nothing to post about.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
what if this is like so dream world, what if, but
Yeah.
like, what if the way to get people to post or update with their friends more often is by getting them to do more crazy shit in real life?
totally.
where
That's
people
cool.
have things to actually update other people on.
Right.
I like the
Because
idea.
what do you say if it's like, all week
Yeah.
I
Did
I
nothing.
watch TikTok videos.
Yeah.
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 And then
I love the idea of provoking people that they're living a boring life
Yeah.
and
that's really interesting.
and then using the outcome of that is that more people have more things to share
Yeah.
that are actually interesting to each
The
other.
update.
I
But
love
without
that.
how do you not get into the arms race of trying to outdo each other? That's the one thing. Because that's the one thing that
It's
like,
almost
Because then it
inevitable.
becomes performative. Is
Exactly.
that-
Yeah. Well, it's always going to have that.
But hey, there will be
totally.
like
Yeah.
6 years where people are like out doing stuff again, and it'll be really
Yeah.
great before somebody decides to turn it into an evil industry.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like
then we'll have
whenever
to crack it again.
We all go to concerts, and like whenever you go to a concert, like it never stops both bothering me, and I get it. So like before you go, like, why are they doing this? But when people film a concert like this, I'm like, you're never gonna watch that.
Yeah.
You're just doing it to post it so someone else could see it.
Yeah.
Who isn't gonna think it's particularly interesting either.
Yeah.
But that cycle then yet the cycle perpetual eternal continues, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
this is an awesome concert. You put down your phone and fucking
Yeah.
dance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I love that solution.
I
Yeah.
do too.
Something that encourages people to go out and just
Live life.
for the evil sake of making content, but they're actually going to realize
The outcome, healthier, happier, less
Yeah.
lonely people. Haha, we all tricked you.
more autonomous
Yeah.
Go for a
teens.
walk.
I
Walks
mean,
are great.
What if that was the platform though? Is it was a prompt to go do a thing.
Yeah.
And then the format in which you then shared about it was
Interesting.
less
That's
just
cool.
like a video of that experience, but was a different
Yeah.
outcome of
I
how
feel
you
like
share it.
there's,
Do you know what I mean?
There was that, I don't know if I think it's still around, but like, there's been a bunch of micro like platforms that have popped up, none that are connecting the full ecosystem the way you're talking about it. But like the one, I think it was called 5 Things or 5 Things Today or something. But like in whatever city you live in, it was just like, the day you open the app, it's like, here's 5 things in your city to do today. And
That's
it was
very
it
cool.
was a really cool thing. And I like the concept because I feel like sometimes it's also when you have infinite choice, we all know that's very hard to deal with. But then it was sort of like, oh, maybe not today. Like it almost got you there, at least for me, but not quite. But if it was paired with sort of this, and then you can tell people about it. And like, also, like, you want to really sit around all day and look at TikTok, you lazy
in a weird way, it's sort of like gamifying a fulfilling life.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's so good.
Like, it's
Yeah.
like,
That's way better than forcing people to confess their dark
yeah,
secrets
exactly.
for
We swung
entertainment.
the
Yeah.
other way. You know what I mean?
I mean, B-Real could do it. They could pivot.
Yeah.
They could become that.
Here's 50 things whenever
It's
you
in
do
their
one,
name.
send a
Like
post.
what?
Yeah.
just
Yeah, do it
one
like a
simple
bucket
thing
list.
That,
Totally.
Biz was
That's
talking
cool
about.
too.
Here's an
Because
activity
people like
you should go
completing
and do.
things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can couple it with your idea of like, okay, we know you're connected to like those 200 people. Actually, 5 of them are like, less than 2 miles away from you today. You guys should
Right.
regroup and do that thing.
Should
and
go.
tell us how it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I
It's
like
interesting.
Okay, we fixed it.
that. I'm in. I'll start posting.
Yeah, exactly. With your friends. You're
Yeah.
gonna be like,
I'd have
whatever.
the best time.
You're gonna be going with Biz, like running up and down the Hollywood Bowl.
Mhm.
Want to race?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
That's
I mean,
so
if the
fun.
prompts were different, because I do think that's a huge part of it, right? Is
Yeah.
like, even if we go on a run together, right, Jesse and I, like, what we would share about it would inherently right now on social feel almost performative.
Yeah.
Right? It would be like,
Yeah.
look at these
Yeah.
like 2 coworkers going for a run after
So
work.
fit.
Yeah.
You know what
So
I mean?
cool.
Like,
You
we
need to-
work and we run, dorks.
Yeah.
So it's there's almost like a need to kind of change the format on how we post. I think is also a huge piece of it too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would watch on that note. I just thought about it, but if I could have a few seconds, a few minutes of stream of consciousness of people running when they're running,
Mhm.
like when they're running, it's hard or it's amazing or you
Yeah.
get a high or you're bored as fuck or you're like, I'm never gonna make it. If I would watch that, I would listen to that.
Mhm.
That
Like
is very
That
interesting.
Yeah.
authentic moment of like
Point of view.
endurance sport, different point of view.
Yeah.
Because Jesse and I talk about running a lot, and we have a very different perspective on running and what it does to us and how we
Mhm.
approach it. And so I realize there's probably a million of those.
Yeah.
Like everybody has its own like
Yeah.
thing. And I think from friends, right? Not from
Mhm.
from stranger, back to the
Mhm.
connecting with friends. I would love that.
Yeah.
Stream of consciousness running is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like when you put a GoPro on a dog.
On a dog.
Yeah. But I think this is also important because the way that we create content and the type of content that is created will continue to evolve. But right now, there's a heavy evolution on it being around AI, which is interesting, right? But also, it's less and less about sort of the reflection of the human experience
That's
in some
exactly
ways,
it.
and it's
It
more
just becomes entertainment.
entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like really thinking about how do we create content that is more about like the human experience and reflecting
Yeah.
that is also part of the conversation too.
Well, I mean, like, I think if you just, as a parallel, when things first started on social media, I think they were literally meant to be a little bit more like a conversation with people you know.
Mhm.
And that's a generalization. It's obviously not, it's never going to be the same as a conversation with someone you know. But compared to now, you know what I mean? It was like, I'm going to, hey, 4 people, I'm going to talk to you about this thing I did, da da da. Now it's like, it has its own tropes. You got to do performance. You got to do things. And like part of me with all of this, like the reason I keep staring off into the distance and ask about digital detox and stuff like that is because I just think that still like, it's hard because for this to go the way I think we'd all hope it to go is like, you need to unwind behavior and mental chemistry a little bit. Like, I do think that
Yeah.
like, this is so inherent. Like, I asked this isn't exactly the same thing, but like whenever my spoiler alert, my wife has a cottage on a lake up in Canada. And when we go up there, she always makes me like basically go for 2 weeks. And the first 3 or 4 days, she's like, you just not.
She makes you go.
She makes, I know
Horrible.
exactly. Yeah,
It's like
she makes me
Simon's-
go. Sorry, to be clear.
Simon's
To be
favorite
clear.
place on earth.
She's asked I go
Horrible.
for 2 week chunks because the first week, it's still a struggle for me to get out of my own head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then once you get out of your own head and you are present,
Mhm.
those movies seem more interesting than they used to. The time you have
totally.
to just
Mhm.
stare at something and think about it or go on a canoe paddle and not think about the things you need to respond to. Your mental health
Yeah.
does change.
It's rewiring the chemistry.
It rewires the chemistry. And I am a firm believer, like not in a psychotic sort of like way, but like I do believe like a lot of the stuff we're in right now can be undone.
Oh, totally.
But it's just, do people have the patience to do it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the kind of sad truth I keep going to.
Like a year or two ago, there was a really interesting piece. I think it was in The Atlantic, but don't quote me on that, which was about how many young kids don't actually want social media.
Yeah.
And like, I think we
Recently.
Yeah. Well, sure. I'm sure there's been many, but there was like a really, really good piece. It was like an academic study done. And it was talking about basically all of the kids were like, I wish it was actually banned, like a legal ban, because if you choose to not do it, then there was always going to be the people who are on and the people who are off.
Exactly.
And if you're the people who are off, then
Peer
it feels
pressure.
like you're missing out. And so they would,
Yes.
so it's interesting because we think that like even the young generation, we think, oh, they want this, but they're actually like, I would rather it be
Nothing.
not exist at all
Yeah.
because then we could all be off of it. And then there's no one, there's no sort of divide.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I find that interesting, but
There
Yeah.
was a similar thing we talked about earlier this week about screens.
Yeah.
About it wasn't
Yeah.
coming from the kids, but Jonathan Haidt, who's the big like
oh yeah.
advocate anti-screen, anti-social media for anyone under 16, did a piece of research that showed that the fact that basically helicopter parenting is the thing that is the main cause for screens.
Right.
That if parents would leave their kids alone to go to the park or go at 13, walk down the street with their friends to get ice cream, then they would spend less time on screens. And kids were saying, yeah, but like I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
Like my parents will let me.
Yeah.
So which is also
Yeah, it's so
kind of
interesting.
like
Yeah,
the same,
Yeah.
like in the same
Yeah.
vernacular.
I mean, that also goes within screens too, right? Is that we've like the internet used to kind of, in a good way, be the Wild West of like discovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, because there's obviously a lot of really scary stuff on the internet, but we've kind of like, for kids also made it so contained too, that like it's only contained to approved entertainment now. And that was just another thing that I was thinking about too, as far as like social community and even kids sharing with themselves too.
I feel like we've talked mostly about all the reasons why social media is bad.
Yeah.
And that's what we
Yeah.
need to change. But I'm curious if you guys think there's any good components left to social.
The way it exists today,
Yeah.
their entertainment's fun. They're entertainment
Yeah.
platforms to me. They're not social media in a way that you're sharing with your friends.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think like there is, listen, like we can talk about how we feel about the algorithm itself, but there is a purity in the fact that like you don't need to be Paramount Pictures anymore to get a million people paying attention to what you create. You know what I mean? Like there is good in that. I think like the scatter of interest now that you can have across social media, the fact that like if I want to, I bet we have completely different little niches that are all like we're well satiated with content about that. Like pre-social media, that stuff was hard to find. You know what I mean?
Representation too is big.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also a reason why I think it's this way, and it's an obvious one we haven't talked about. It's just it's a better business. Like, like there was not enough good business in closed groups, closed communities of people sharing, and then they realized YouTube was doing it amazing, and then TikTok was doing amazing, and everybody went down the road of like YouTube and TikTok, and so entertainment, which is what it was. So I think there's the business of getting people to connect in closed communities online is a tough one. Like Reddit's doing a good job in open communities, but it's different because it's like it's very specific to a topic, to a passion. It's not about sharing your life.
Yeah.
But, it's like, I don't know if there is a business.
I mean, in some ways, gaming right now is almost the new most active social media. Right?
Yeah,
It's
totally.
literally, it's media that you are social around, right? I mean, it's
such a good point.
like live gaming is kind of doing,
Right.
it's a counter solve to kind of what we're talking about, right?
So some of my friends and us leave our 11-year-old play Fortnite because he's on he's mic'd up and he's talking to his friends.
You're actually
doing it.
engaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Totally.
actually talking to each
Yeah.
other and we can hear. And I think I talked about it. I had a friend tell me recently, oh, how's that dude? I'm like, how do you know that dude? Like, well, he's your son's friend. And now he's friends with my
Totally.
son on Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they talk like every
Yeah.
week on like, the headset and
Yeah.
mic. So yeah, that is
It-
social
it-
in a good way because they're actually talking.
They're talking to each
Yeah.
other.
Actually
Yeah,
talking to each
exactly.
other.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. It also makes me think about I love where we were going with the idea of gamifying a fulfilling life. Like I think at least as a short-term solution for if it'll work for the next 10 years to make people like happier and better, I'm all for
Yeah.
it. And then we'll have to find a new solution once that one doesn't work. But we've also talked a lot about social as we know it today, which is like one to mass. And I do feel like what we are seeing a bit of a shift into like people, WhatsApp is being used as like micro communities. Like, so one of the big things that's happening on WhatsApp because you were talking about discovery on the internet, it made me think of it. I was reading about like how younger generations want to like thrift one of a kind pieces, but it's really hard to do that out in the world today. And internet shopping kind of sucks, but they're doing it in WhatsApp groups. So you almost have like a curator who sort of is the owner of the WhatsApp group, and they're invite only
Interesting.
sort of communities, but they're really small communities. And I find that to be truly social. Like it is a true form of social and connection. But I wonder if also part of this is creating space for, it's not a good business necessarily, as you say, because it's the smaller, more intimate groups versus the mass, like one to many group. But I think thinking about that is also interesting. Like where are the opportunities for like the invite only smaller communities?
What's the huge one in the gaming industry? I forget the name of it.
Twitch?
No, not Twitch.
Discord?
Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's
Discord,
kind of, that
A little
reminds me
bit,
a little
yeah.
bit of that, what you're talking about
Web3
too.
and gaming, yeah.
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 I mean, a lot of people are doing that on WhatsApp and Telegram.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And sometimes it's one too many. Sometimes it's like close to,
Yeah.
it's just basically a big megaphone. And sometimes it is open to conversation. But yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
The purity of what you were asking for, Biz, I keep going back to because it's like that behavior is so part and parcel of that time. You know what I mean? Like you talked about when you posted your first one, it was a picture you took on a digital camera that you then connected to, I'm assuming, your computer, and then your
Family desktop.
and then you
Even
posted
better.
it.
Yeah.
And
then
then
you had to hide where the image was so that your older brother didn't find it and like
Right.
make fun of you, you know?
Yeah. And then it got posted, and then it was a thing, and then
With
probably
the
nothing
arm
was going to
up.
happen for a while. So you had to like leave and then come back to the desktop the next time you could get on it.
Yeah.
And so much of the behavior now is like, how do we make this easier for people to post more crap as quickly as possible and people to consume stuff because they have their phone right in front of them as much as possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's, I mean, not to be cynical, but it is a business model now, right?
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, great. We'll just keep hoarding people with like, it was no longer like, put some thought into this because it's going to be the one time you're going to be able to do it for a little while.
Yeah.
It's here we go. Oh, you didn't like that? Here's the next thing. Here's the next thing. Here's the
Yeah.
next thing. Here's the next thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think I wanted to bring it up because I think whenever there's an industry or a part of culture that's diving into an extreme, there will be an uprise of sort of
I
something
agree.
against.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think for the last 10 years, it's been sort of like, well, it's the detox, it's the anti-social
Yeah.
media. But
Yeah.
I think we're going to start seeing new models
I agree.
that are generating more. Like humans can't help but connect. It's just part of
I agree.
Totally.
who we are and what we do. And I think we're going to see kind of a new wave of new kind
definitely.
of platforms that bring us together in different ways.
What if you were only allowed to post 10 times a year?
Right.
It would be,
Mhm.
a little more performative, probably push you to the performative side.
Maybe, but it could be at least more depth. Like,
Yeah.
I could see a lot of more, like actually a big not a resurgence because there's a lot of it now, but even more like written content or more like if you could only post literally 10 times a year.
It's all about the prompt, right?
Yeah,
But
it's kind of interesting
people-
to think about.
We'll leave it here before I do the round off because I think we have only a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
But as much as we want more and more all the time, we like the restraint too.
Yeah.
I'll leave this here, but the rise of edging and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's important, right? It's also just like we like episodic TV.
Yeah.
Is that the correct word? Too?
Yeah.
We crave some of that constraint too. So maybe part of the gamification is sort of embedding some of that in too. But we've talked about a lot of different stuff. It's kind of like a wild conversation.
Yeah, I loved it.
I feel like when I started it off, you guys were like, what?
No,
Youngin?
not at
Like,
all.
what are you talking about?
No.
I
But
think
it-
about it all the time.
No,
Yeah.
this is the same
Yeah,
thing Sarah
I have
do at the
3
start of
kids.
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we talked a lot of different things. We talked about dark secrets. We talked about the gamification of it all. We've talked about getting people off of social media to then post, and maybe that's sort of the fuel. But I'm curious, like, did we crack it, Simon?
No, we didn't crack it. I think the thing that like I keep going to in my head is I'm like, there's a lot you need to kind of do if you want people to use a platform to connect with other people again. And it's a lot of like not retraining, but training people for a certain behavior. I agree with you. I do think there's an opportunity for it. And I think you just have to maybe like, if you were a business looking at it, you can't look at like, how do we become the next Facebook? You got to become something different and be okay with that. You know what I mean? And a smaller market than that. You know what I mean? But no, we didn't crack it.
Jesse?
I think we could trick people into living a more fulfilling, fun, and engaged social life. I'm ultimately though with you, Simon. I think it's. I think that we understand what has has to change.
Yeah.
But the hill is a
big
mountain.
boy.
It's a big boy.
Yeah.
But I love this topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we definitely didn't crack it. There's probably at least 200 people working on this right now. I'm sure somewhere in the world trying to create a
200
product.
people.
Totally.
That's it.
Like pockets of 10 people. Like 20 pockets of 10 people.
Do they have a WhatsApp group?
Trying to, if they're not in the US, they do. Trying to reinvent social media. So we didn't crack it, but I do like where it was going when it was about like get with your friends and get outside and then do something about it.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting like little thing to scratch. And I'm going to create a product that's going to be called, controversial name, Mental. And it's all going to be about moments of performance and sharing streams of consciousness.
Yeah, I'm big on that. I like that
it.
idea.
It's cool. I like it.
That's good. Right? Did you write that down?
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah, I got it. It's called Mental.
All right.
What do you think, Biz?
What do you think, Biz?
I forgot the
Gotta
format.
bring us home.
Sorry, yeah, I've been gone. No, we definitely didn't crack it. It's too big.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
an interesting conversation, and I think also to the point of like, things like Be Real, like boring, maybe didn't pick up as much, but that did get folded into Instagram, right? Like sometimes these features from other companies get bought out or sort of they steal from them. And for a short period of time, it does the thing that you want it to do, which is like the close friends thing. Even if eventually it becomes, evil
Swallowed
and useless.
by the system.
But yeah. But yeah,
Cool.
thank you guys.
Thank
It's
you.
fun.
Good
Fun, good
topic.
topic.
Great stuff. And thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time on another episode. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to another episode of Crack It in an Hour. If you like the show, please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you have questions, thoughts, or feedback, shoot us an email at hello@crackitpodcast.com or on Instagram @crackitpodcast. Music done by Michael Anastasi, cover art shot by Mick Mint, and all things audio and video taken care of by Nathan Nash. See you next time.